Yes, we're back off the pitch talks. I've got another guest with me today, Mr. Brighton fan and sports journalist, Mr. George Northover.
Hello, mate. Good to be back. How are we?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Yeah, we'll be even better when football season starts. But how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Like yourself, still waiting for the footy to start. But we just had the under-21s win last night, so that was good. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
waiting for the proper football to come back.
yeah.
It's
Come on.
it's fun when it ends. You think, that's it. 9 months of this is over, and then it gets to about 2 weeks, and you're thinking, I just want them back now.
Trust me, it does. And when the season starts, yeah, and then depending how well your team's performing, can the season be over already?
It's that time of year where it's like everyone's the optimist. It's like, we're going to do something in the season. And gets to about September, you're like, here we go again.
Cool. Anyway, so talk us through a bit about yourself at the moment, like, in terms of where you are with the sports journalism. Obviously, we know that you've obviously studied a sports journalism degree, and you're in the process, So talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find work in the journalism world. It's not the easiest thing to get into, so hopefully doing stuff like this and TikTok and YouTube will get me into doing something. So doing this is a lot of fun. I do love just sitting chatting about football podcasts and whatnot. So hopefully we'll be doing something like that on my TikTok and YouTube. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm in the same position as you. That this industry, football in general, is brutal. I mean, you see from the players, that happens to the players, through even off the pitch roles, it's brutal. And you got to obviously put yourself out there. I asked I'm not going to name him live because I don't want to end up in legal, but I asked the journalist about my work, about the content I create, and he turned around and said, "That's not journalism what you're doing. You're copying someone else's work." And I was like, hold on. Do you know what it takes to put yourself in front of the camera, and to the prep it takes, and the amount of times you have to go through, to get to just make that, even that little 30-second clip, literally. I just felt, listen, I'm a man. I take constructive criticism. That's all good. That's all that. But at least could have pointed me to, give me some more guidance. Pointing me in other directions. As you'll see on my the live I've coming up with sports lawyer Daniel G on Wednesday night, how he helped me out a lot. He could have been, he's obviously a lawyer, he could have been like, no, I can't help you, but he actually took time. He didn't have to. Well, I'm always indebted to him that he actually went out his way to point me in the right direction, give me some tips and all that, real tips, Yeah,
exactly.
He first advised me to start writing. I said, Daniel, I can't write to save my life. And then I came up myself with the video concept, what I'm doing now. And yeah, and he said, yeah, what, I think that's better off for you. So yeah.
It's the way forward, people are viewing more, think like journalism isn't the traditional in the papers anymore. It's everywhere these days, so, and more people are connected to their phones. So stuff like this, it's easier now to be a journalist than the tradition. Well, not easier to be a journalist, but journalism is easier.
Yeah, so that's why, yeah. Exactly. Go on.
There's no right way or wrong way to do journalism these days,
No, absolutely not. That's why I got you on here. One is obviously you're a sports journalist, and also the other reason was you're a Brighton fan. I've always been keen in the way Brighton do things, in terms of, which we'll get onto more of that in the as we progress tonight. But anyway, what's your thoughts so far? What was your thoughts anyway at the end of last season? Towards the end of last season, you got finished 8th. So, what was your hopes on that? It was an upgrade from the previous season. Finished top 10.
Yeah, it's still top 10 finishes. I think obviously what the club wants. Obviously, Europe would have been a nice bonus. But obviously the fact that we dropped, I think, about 22 points from winning positions last season didn't help massively. Drawing sides against Leicester and Wolves and Southampton and a 0-0 with Ipswich, it kind of, if you looked at it, had we won those games, we'd have comfortably finished in the top 4. Would have been in the Champions League, I think. So
you reckon?
I think that's what it said. If we'd had the 22 points we hadn't dropped, we'd have finished about 4th or 5th.
Yeah. Okay. No, yeah, definitely.
It wasn't. 8th was good. Obviously, the Palace winning the FA Cup didn't help because we'd have got that 8th position spot. But it is what it is, and I think we really have to take advantage of the 8 teams being in Europe this season. We really do, because this is the best opportunity we will probably get to finish in the top 6.
Okay, definitely. Obviously, with the congestion and all that, and yeah, you could see that as the season, there's a no fixture congestion for you guys, less games, so
yeah, and it could be a real opportunity to win a trophy. Even win the League Cup something like that.
Oh, you lot came close to getting to the semis this time, only losing on penalties to Forest.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'd say Europe. If we're not challenged for Europe, I would be shocked because that needs probably to be the priority of the season. Obviously, top 10 would be a bonus, but top 10 is the aim. But Europe is the sort of thing that, with those teams in Europe this season, we could take advantage of this, and we need to.
And everyone was thinking at the start, Fabian Hurtzler, he's only 31, youngest manager ever to manage in the Premier League. Everyone was like, oh no, everyone had their question marks and their doubts. I said from the start, I think he's a good manager. I said, I'm not surprised where you guys finished. I said, this guy, and yeah, quite potentially you could have got, maybe in Champions League as well. I thought when you said that, I thought you were only talking from those 3 games of the Wolves, the Southamptons and Ipswich, is those games that you drop points. But yeah, overall, from winning positions, yeah, quite potentially could have got at least the top 5 at least Champions League, because you started very strongly. It was in mid-season that lost to Palace, and then I won't mention lost to Forest. Yeah,
it was
the German PE teacher out.
Yeah, it was. That's when the doubt started setting in, was the Forest game. But then it was 6 on the bounce, I think he won, and then he got a point at the Etihad. So he obviously proved the doubt was wrong, which is great. And now he's got that season experience. Hopefully it takes it into this season and we push on.
Most definitely. What are your hopes for the transfer window so far?
Well, we've obviously signed the young lad from Olympiacos, so that will be interesting. The price tag obviously is a bit of pressure on him.
Was it 30 million?
30 million, I think, yeah, from Olympiacos. So there'll be obviously questions about him there. Hopefully he can do well. I'm not sure if he'll be sent out on loan or not yet. Well, what remains to see, because obviously we've just got rid of João Pedro. So, and that may bring Ferguson back into the side again if we decide to keep him. Yeah, because he didn't have the best of loan spells at West Ham.
Okay.
So it would be nice to see him back again in the form he was in when he was first there, or first here, should I say.
Yeah.
And we've just signed David Coppola from... I can't remember where we signed him from now, but he's a Italian centre-half. So obviously with Dunk getting older, that could bolster the defence, and with Jan-Paul van Hecker coming through as well now.
Definitely.
The future's looking bright. So, yeah.
Definitely. Also, touching on, obviously, João Pedro, that's gone through today, 50 million to Chelsea. How much did you sign him for?
I think it was 25 million. So we've doubled on what we paid for him.
Tony Bloom always does that to Chelsea. Hits them in
exactly.
the pocket.
They're our favourite customers. If they come calling, we're like, well, there you go. Money, please. Sign on the dotted line there, Mr. Bailey.
It's funny because when I mentioned this, when I had Matt Letizia on, we spoke about when he was playing for Southampton that they made, I think it was a 15 million offer to sign him, and then was it the Southampton owner turned around and said to Matthew Harding, said to him, if you want to buy Matt Letizia, you have to buy the whole club, literally. So literally buy Southampton as an entity. So that's more or less. And then and obviously he wrote a check obviously for him, which obviously was rejected. There you go. Goes to say how Chelsea like to go for all the talent, obviously, and
Yeah. So, with you, Arsenal this season, what do you think you lot can do?
Well, first of all, we got his name's gone blank from my mind now, but what's his name from Brentford, the central defensive midfielder, Christian Norgard.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
he's coming through. We've got him signing for him, which I think means Thomas Partey's leaving. Obviously, his contract expires. We're on Tuesday. He officially becomes a free agent. So it's just sad to see, because I really like Thomas Partey and the way he did things towards the end of last season. But obviously, if he has to move on, if he wants, if that's his choice. He wants to go.
Would you rather have taken money for him than let him leave on a free, though?
Here's the thing, though. I don't think we would have got much from him. I mean, I would have, but obviously he's 32. Obviously, I don't think we'd have got much back from him. Obviously, maybe 10 million at the very most. It depends who most likely be a Saudi club that probably pay that. But ideally, I'd have liked him to have stayed, stayed for obviously, because Jorginho's left. Jorginho had his time, so he's gone. And as for other incomings, obviously we got Martin Zubimendi coming in. Hopefully that should be announced on Tuesday. and we've got Kepa Arrizabalaga, another former Chelsea player coming in. Not a Chelsea reject, should we say, like we previously signed, but Kepa's coming in. And the one we just need that striker. We need that striker to come in. Literally, we just need sign Gyökeres or even Sesko. Just man. I mean, talks even now where we could even go after Eberechi Eze. I mean, I'd take him on the wing, but not to play down the
Spurs are in for him as well, aren't they? I think.
Yeah,
so,
Spurs or Arsenal. Yeah, well, the fact they got Champions League now doesn't really help because he's got both clubs can offer him that. But if we had the Spurs hadn't won Europa League,
would have been a different story.
Exactly. But and as for Martinelli, I love Martinelli, but if we obviously have to let him go, then for a better player, then so be it. I really would have liked to have seen Martinelli convert to a striker. I thought he was the answer maybe for a striker. Obviously, he's always been played on a wing, but I remember when he was playing in Brazil before, from what I heard, that he was always a striker. I mean, Emery even deployed him as a striker as well when he first signed him, but then clearly Arteta had other ideas of him and decided to play him out on the wing. But I'd just love to see Martinelli play down the middle, and we saw that towards the end of last season how I don't want to say the answers and for a long term. Well, definitely a quick fix, but definitely not the long term answer to play down the middle. But maybe the answer, but with potential, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Potential to develop. Yeah, long term answer. Short term answer, no, but long term answer, yes.
So, what do you hope for? What do you hope for the season then?
Well, we gotta win the league, mate. We gotta win the league. If we don't win the league, Arteta, bye, mate. It's that time. He needs to win the league, or he needs to win something this season, because we've trusted the process for long enough now, and we just gotta obviously ultimately win the league, win a trophy. He's at the backing, so there you go. I mean, I don't know why we never signed a striker last year, Gyökeres or Sesko last year, or even gone for all out for Ollie Watkins, but it was where it was. We move, can't go dwell on the past, so we just go. We need to win a league title or a trophy of some sort this season.
Be tough against that Liverpool side.
Definitely, and also City's come back into the fold as well with Rodri recovering. Yeah. What are your hopes for Brighton this season? Obviously, you mentioned it. Obviously, you're hopefully to go for Europe, but yeah.
I'd take us going all the way in the League Cup or the FA Cup. I've never seen us win anything major. So, if Palace can win a trophy, we can.
Definitely. I wanted to ask you one outgoing of Brighton, potential outgoing. Matt O'Reilly. I mean, you only signed him last year from Celtic. So was it? Celtic. What are your thoughts on him potentially leaving?
It wouldn't be a loss as such because obviously he was injured for most of the season or the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to see him stay to see what potential he has actually got. And obviously now he's got this season now. It's starting. Hopefully, if he does stay, we can utilise him this season and see what he's actually worth. And so I'm not fussed either way, to be brutally honest.
Okay, interesting. Obviously, because I remember you guys signed a host of players last year, including what's the name? The Turkish guy. I keep forgetting.
Ferdi.
Ferdi, that was it. Yeah, Ferdi. I thought it was Ferdi Under or something, but yeah, definitely. How do you think he progressed towards the end?
Yeah, he's coming to the side really well. He's a brilliant signing. I think people were saying that if he went, it wouldn't be a loss. It would be a loss. He's a real talent, and it would be a loss if we sold him. So I'd like to start. I don't know if anyone's in the market for him yet, but I wouldn't want to see him go.
Why if they doubled their money on him? Double folded on him.
It's like the Matoma thing when people were saying, "Oh, why didn't you accept 90 million quid for him?" Because if we lost him, we'd be buggers.
Oh yeah. Well, who offered 90 million for Matoma?
It was one of the Saudi clubs.
Oh wow.
So they offered 90 million quid and we turned it down. He doesn't want to leave anyway.
No, of course not. He's built a home more or less at Brighton. A legacy.
Yeah, but it would be really difficult to replace a player like him. So that's why we've said no, and people are baffled that why we haven't accepted 90 million quid. It's like, well, it's going to cost more than 90 million quid to replace him. Oh, that's why.
To a player of his quality, I mean, you could develop one. Obviously, Brighton's production line, as we mentioned before, but it's not. Obviously, it's going to take time to nurture a player of that stature.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to happen from day one. And if you're
Exactly.
finding a player like he is now that has developed, you're looking at 100 million quid easily before you've even started.
Tony Bloom would never spend that money initially. He'd never, and
No, he wouldn't.
especially if he's over 25 or something, or I can't remember, he was 24. He definitely won't sign him.
No. So.
Speaking of which, what's the latest from the academy, from Brighton's academy? Obviously, we saw Jack Hinshaw would win the Euros last night with
as well as
Arry. So, who's the next coming through?
I know you wanted to touch on Kota Dewberry.
Oh yeah,
he was at Blackburn last season.
Okay.
22 appearances, 1 goal. So it's good for young players that get sent out on loan to the Championship clubs. It's one of them things that we've always usually done. James Beadle as well, the keeper, was on loan last season, who won the Euros last night. He played fantastically in the tournament, as well as Jack Hinshaw did. So it's nice to see the young players coming through and representing England at youth level and winning things. So the future's bright.
Okay. What about I was going to ask, who else is there? Oh, I can't think of it. All right. I want to ask Jonathan Rowe. Is that his name, the striker?
Yes.
For the England under-21s. Yeah. Who does he play for? Do you know who he plays for?
I can't remember. I think it's Chelsea. I don't know why I think it's Chelsea.
Okay.
But
okay. Because there's so many players now making the jump up from the youth teams into the senior side that you just forget. You know, you don't know who the under-21s are now. I mean, I like it back when it was like I say a decade or two ago. I mean, when was who's the under-21s manager after Stuart Pearce? Who's the
Southgate, wasn't it? Was it Southgate?
I know he was at one point. I'm trying to think before that. Was it was Stuart Pearce in 2009 the manager for the under-21s with the team?
I'm pretty sure it was. James when he had Joe Hart in the squad. And
yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, yes, I liked it when Stuart Pearce was in charge of that team. So I saw a lot of senior players, those established Premier League stars, were still in the under-21s. And we had Walcott, Oxlade-Chamberlain. Yeah, from our side. Yeah, I really liked the under-21s back then. Yeah, especially Joe Hart, James Milner. Yeah, and then we came close to winning it that year back in 2009. I just remember watching that game on TV. But
it was the one with the penalty shootout that went on forever, wasn't it?
Yeah,
against the Dutch.
Joe Hart got suspended because he was just trying to taunt the players or something.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, definitely. I remember now. Stuart Pearce was the manager then. Yeah, but it was just sad after that when then we see a lot of they made a couple of appearances for the under-21 to make the jump into the senior team. I think there was one manager that questioned that they didn't like it to happen, and after I think it was Southgate. I think it probably was that wanted the players to get. They said they're not getting enough development, or Hodgson maybe it was. They're saying the players aren't getting enough development from the under-21s, jumping straight into the senior team.
Yeah, it's nice for the younger players to get a call up for the senior team, but they should always be looked at for the under-21s as well, because
100%.
Obviously with the under-21s they're going to get more experience in tournaments and stuff, rather than being called up to a World Cup squad and not playing like Walcott was in 2006.
Exactly.
So, I think the youth setup's good for England. St George's Park's done us a world of good with the youth setup. We've won the under-17s World Cup. I think the under-19s have won things as well.
Yeah, definitely. The under-20s won it in 2017. Yeah. I remember Ainsley was in that team. Ainsley, Maitland-Niles.
Yeah. So, the youth setup with England is brilliant, and long may it continue. Yeah.
Let me ask you another question. That's a bit, it's not irrelevant. I want to say it's irrelevant, but would you have backed the sale of Wembley Stadium just for grassroots development? When was it the Fulham owner wanted to buy the stadium for like £1 billion? Oh. And they said the proceeds were to go into grassroots development.
I wouldn't sell Wembley, no, but I'd like some sort of fund that comes from like the FA to help grassroots football more than because obviously grassroots football is the thing that keeps the game going in this country, and if kids don't have the chance to play football, we're not going to have a world class squad.
100%. My view on that was I wouldn't have. I mean, I remember Gary Neville's view. He said that they should charge a levy on agent fees to fund back into grassroots football. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have backed the sale of the stadium. I mean, the terms were that obviously the FA keeps the full income from the club Wembley corporate areas, and the Wembley Stadium was to obviously stay England's home, but basically they wanted to bring more. It was more of a commercial thing to bring more the NFL over, back more events, obviously, but yeah, I just didn't like the way. I didn't like the way. I didn't want it to be Americanized. Say for the Jacksonville Jaguars to come over and for NFL more to take over, because I'm not really an NFL fan, and yeah, I didn't see the need to have to sell a national asset to the FA, which I don't know if they're still in debt for, but I didn't have to see the need to have to sell an asset.
I'm pretty sure they paid it off about 10 years ago.
Is it? Oh, so I thought. Well, last I read in 2018 when they're still in debt by a few $100 million for it, but. Who knows?
But what I would pay £1 billion for is for them to stop playing England games there.
It's nice to see England go around the country, you know, like you said you went to Forest, didn't you?
I didn't go to Forest, no.
Oh, you didn't?
I was going, but I couldn't get the time off work. So, but I am going to the Mandora game up at Villa, so that'll be exciting, because it's nice to see England somewhere that isn't Wembley, because we know what the atmosphere is like at Wembley on a Thursday night.
Paper planes,
and the Great Escape going on for about 12 hours, Mexican waves, and us beating someone like Albania 2-0 when we've gone 2-0 off after about 20 minutes, and then everyone's just gone, oh, that's it now. So I would say that Wembley's great, but for England games, I think they need to move it around the country more, especially in qualifiers when we're playing like not lesser nations, but sides that, you know, your Andorras, your San Marinos. If you played it in a smaller stadium, no disrespect to them, they do deserve the chance to play at Wembley.
100%.
But it would be nice for people to be able to, from other parts of the country, not always have to travel down to London. You know,
True.
so.
True. Okay. So we're going to go on to a bit of a topic you're not going to like now, but Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup. What was your thoughts on that? I know that day you weren't speaking to nobody.
Oh, did they? Did they win something, did they? Okay.
The Nigels. Expect us by the Nigels.
What did they win again?
The FA Cup. Big trophy.
Oh, was it? Oh, I thought it was like the Surrey Senior Cup or something. Oh, I must have missed that. But no, in all seriousness, it is for a club of like Arsenal and Palace's size. It's nice that we can see them winning it. Well, obviously, because it's not for me because it was Palace winning it, but it shows that the clubs of our size are able to win those kinds of trophies, especially against that City side that have won everything in the last 10 years. I think it's only the second time in the last 10 years they haven't won a trophy in a season. I think it was the first time they haven't won a trophy under Pep, if I remember rightly.
Second time.
Oh, second time.
Yeah, because the first time was if you want to count the Community Shield, but yeah. First time was his first season where everyone started questioning him, but yeah.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. But yeah, it brings us back the spirit of the FA Cup. So
100%.
As much as it pained me and annoyed me seeing them post for about 3 or 4 days, oh, we've won the FA Cup, you won. It is a breath of fresh air seeing, like, not a smaller club, but a club that isn't one of the top boys is going to walk it every season, you know. So
yeah, definitely.
And the same with Newcastle winning the Carabao Cup. I know they've been backed by the Saudis now, but you know, it's nice seeing other teams win things rather than your Liverpool's, your City's, or your United. So
that's what makes football boring. I remember that was that year when we had we had Wigan and Swansea win the League Cup and the FA Cup.
2013, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a class year. We saw them in the like you said, brings the spirit back of the FA Cup. People always like to disregard the FA Cup, even especially me as an Arsenal fan. I always like to say that we're the most successful club that's won it, and then we say, "Oh, FA Cup doesn't count anymore." You know, so it's like, no, it's still a big cup, it's the oldest cup competition in the world, and I was against them scrapping the replays. Well, at least until maybe the first and second round they should have kept them, but at least for the third round onwards, I don't think they should have scrapped it. They said
I think they shouldn't. No, you carry on.
I think it's because, exactly. It brings the smaller clubs, allows them to get more revenue, ticket revenue from the replays. I mean, I understand from the round 3 onwards if you don't want to have them, but round 1 and 2 definitely should have.
I think they should keep them all through it up until the quarterfinals. That's what it's always been.
Okay, you don't think about the
I don't care if Spurs or Man United want to jaunt off halfway across the world to play a friendly in May and then complain that their players are tired. It is one of the things that grinds my gears. It's ridiculous. Oh, we're playing too much football. Then why are you going all the way off to Malaysia at the end of May when the season finishes to play pre-season friendlies? It's ridiculous. And then you're looking at clubs like Tamworth who would have drawn against Spurs. In those 90 minutes, they go down to the Spurs stadium and they get ridiculous amounts of revenue. And it's a day out for their fans. So it's harsh on the smaller clubs in the FA Cup because that's what the FA Cup was all about.
True.
And with all the big boys, once the big boys throw their toys at the prom, that's it. They get what they want. So it wouldn't surprise me at one point if we did end up getting a Super League.
Yeah, well, that's the next talk. I mean, we got obviously FIFA Club World Cup now, obviously, and revamped Champions League. More or less, we already have a Super League. That's regulated under FIFA and UEFA.
I wasn't sure about the new Champions League system, but it does make it much more entertaining.
I was against it at first.
I wasn't sure about
it. Exactly, but now I actually like the way how the team. I still don't know how the algorithm, how they work out who plays who, but. Yeah, I think I know is computerized and seeded, unseeded. I'm not sure, but it does give smaller teams that we saw. We must disregard them. Celtic get through, obviously, to play another game in the last. Was it last 16? It was.
Yeah.
Or last 30. The round before the last 16.
It was the playoff round or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
It gives them more revenue, and obviously, it's good to see a smaller club like Celtic go through, and even the big boys Bayern and Real Madrid, they didn't get through on finishing the top 8.
No, exactly. So it's improved it. So, and the same thing with like the Conference League. That's a fantastic competition now. Because it gives it. Like West Ham have won it. And it gives clubs like us who have probably never been in. Well, we've been in the Europa League, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
But it gives like the smaller clubs like your Brentfords and the chance that actually we could go into Europe. But not only that, we could win this. So I think UEFA have done well on that.
Okay. Do you think? Let me ask you one thing. Do you think it was harder in the older format? Because my pal is a West Ham fan. He says that when West Ham won it, he says we won it the proper way. We didn't have none of this league table stuff. We won it the proper way, and with the teams dropping down from the Europa League, that's another thing. You don't have the relegation from the Champions League to Europa League to Conference League. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's made it easier?
I don't think it has, because it hasn't changed much. You're still playing the same sort of teams. Obviously, the teams that dropped out of the Champions League may have had an advantage. Who knows? But it was a level playing field at the end of the day when they dropped down. And Sevilla, I reckon Sevilla just did it on purpose to finish in third so they can win the Europa League again.
And you get their Champions League revenue back because they're not going to get that through the league. Okay, that's good to hear. I mean, I think I think this is easier. Well, if you're in a Europa League and a Conference League, I think it's easier now that you don't have the teams dropping down, but from the superior competitions. But
it did make it more exciting though, seeing them drop down.
Yeah, they did, but now I'm not sure. I mean, Chelsea won it, obviously, the way the Conference League. I mean, they were expected to win it though, so yeah.
Well, exactly. But if you qualify for it and go and win it, fair play. You've got to beat what's in front of you, and they did that. So.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So speaking of which, these competitions, Crystal Palace, the verdict's expected in the next month. They could be expelled from the Europa League potentially for multi-club ownership rules, breaching multi-club ownership rules. And the reason why they want to expel them is because they didn't register their in time that they were part of a multi-club ownership, which was back. The deadline was in March, but
it was in March when they just got through to the FA Cup semi-final as well. So it was it's quite a shock.
Or February, I think it was. I know it was before then. They didn't know that they were going to be playing in Europe next season, so that's why they said that they'd never won the FA Cup before. So that's why they said that they hadn't registered the multi-club ownership documents before to UEFA, and that's why UEFA is saying it's conflicts of interest. I mean, we saw this before with Tony Bloom when you guys qualified for the Europa League. He had to obviously dissolve his share in Union Saint-Gilloise, obviously to meet the multi-club ownership rules.
Yeah. It's a complicated situation, this Palace one. Especially with Lyon have now been demoted to Ligue 2, but they might not be, or something like that. They're still allowed to play in the Europa League, so whether the French FA turn around and say, okay, right, you can go back up to Ligue 1 remains to be seen, because if UEFA have said, yeah, you can play in the Europa League, maybe the French FA may say to them, okay, you can come back up to Ligue 1, but who knows?
Has there been a ban between UEFA on that one, on their European status? Have UEFA said anything in regards to that? I mean, I haven't been following it that closely, but have UEFA have said that they can play next season?
Yeah, they can play. If they're in League 2, they can still play in the Europa League.
Okay. I didn't know. I thought because they breached their financial rules, I thought it would be then link onto the UEFA's financial regulations. See if they've.
That's what I thought, but UEFA would turn around and said to. But it could all change.
Obviously, Texter's now agreed to sell his shares in Palace, so
yeah. But I still think that they should have got it done by the deadline, because by the deadline they were in the FA Cup semi-final. So you just prepare, don't you?
Okay, well, we know that obviously Nottingham snitches. They've complained about that because they know they'll get promoted up to the Europa League if Palace drop out, and you guys will take their place in the Conference League next season. So
I'm not sure about that. I'd like it to happen, but my bank balance would say no. I remember the Europa League trips did me in.
Yeah, they can be expensive, them European trips, but
we know in England, so.
But yeah, so do you think that Brighton could get the Europa League, the Conference League spot, or it goes to someone else? It would go to another nation.
I don't know what would happen. Honestly, whatever UEFA are going to say and do, we don't know yet. So if we get it, we get it. If we don't, I wouldn't be fussed, because it means it's a one less competition for us to play in.
True.
And Europe last time really did us in.
True, yeah.
The second half of that season was a slog.
Yeah, and you finished 12th, was it?
I think either 11th or 12th, and we ended up finishing behind Palace despite beating them 4-1 weeks previously.
Yeah, true. And also De Zerbi was the uncertainty about whether he was going to stay the following season or not, obviously.
Obviously he went, yeah.
Yeah, and then last game got shocked. There was a shock announcement that he was leaving. And now he's managing in Marseille, right?
Marseille,
still there? Is he still there? Okay.
I think he's still there.
Okay, well, good for him. Good on him. Hopefully, who knows, Chelsea might poach him back at some point.
No, I don't know. I think Chelsea would be a poison chalice for him.
And we saw Mr. Graham Potter, who's now back at West Ham.
Yeah.
Did you go to that game, Brighton West Ham?
No, I think I was. Where was I? I was doing something else, I think. I can't remember where I was.
I want to know.
I think I may have been at Eastbourne Borough that day. I was, because it was their last game of the season. That was it.
I wanted to know what reception he got, from the Brighton fans. I know last time it was very hostile when you guys played Chelsea.
That Chelsea game where we done them 4-1, and he got the greatest reception that I've ever seen from the Amex. It was fantastic.
And Iman Cucurella as well.
Oh, Cucurella always gets a wonderful welcome when he comes back. You always know when he's on the ball.
And I remember on TV afterwards, they were asking him, "Do you feel any emotion?" He said, "No, I don't." This was Graham Potter. He said, "No, I've got nothing to apologise for. I gave the Brighton 3 of my best years, left them behind a lot of money in the bank. I have nothing to apologise for." Blunt like that, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. He moves on, we move on.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, going on, we were speaking about obviously Tony Bloom. Obviously, he's talking about multi-club ownership. He's now invested in 10% in Hearts, if I'm not mistaken. 10%.
Yeah, Hearts. Yeah.
We touched on this. Yeah, go on.
It's It's an interesting one because obviously they're not one of the bigger clubs in Scotland, so it will be interesting to see what he does. Hopefully, we can use that as to nurture players that we can send them on loan there, and we could probably get some players from them. Who knows? But it's a good link because obviously the Scottish game at the minute is dominated by who.
Celtic and Rangers.
Yeah. So it would be nice to see another club win something in Scotland, the title especially for once.
That'll never happen, but yeah. But when
Tony Bloom's clever with his money. He's not silly, so it obviously is going to be a good investment for him, and hopefully it goes well for him.
Definitely. I did a video on this at the start when it first happened last season. First, it started off as a business venture. He was only to invest money and to get a return on profits, and in return of using Arts having access to his data analytics and whatnot, and his data scouts, using his company Star Lizard. And now it's obviously progressed, and they've seen progress. But the main thing was that they don't want Bloom involved on the board. They just want him as a sleeping partner, more or less. Which I think will be interesting. Which would be interesting. I'd love to see more entertainment in Scottish football, as opposed to obviously challenging the main status quo. I don't think it will happen because obviously they're just too big. But it would just be nice to see them even get some results against them. Obviously not Rangers, but get one against Celtic. Some more results against Celtic.
Yeah, that's the thing with Scotland for decades now. Well, for as long as we've known, the old firm have been the big boys in Scotland. So it would be nice for someone else to knock on the door for once.
Yeah. I've always said they should expand their league to 16 teams. I don't know why it can't happen. I'll never know. Maybe because Celtic and Rangers will say no because it would mean less revenue for them. But it'd be nice to see the Scottish League more entertainment. If they expanded their league to 16 teams and have less playing the same. That might even take Scottish football up even as much as you want that to even develop their national team.
Oh, so we can beat them again? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, that as well. Yeah. So yeah, man. No, that's what I was going to say. So speaking on to international football, what are your thoughts on England seniors? Obviously, you watched the previous games. I mean, against Andorra, we won 1-0. Even Tuchel wasn't happy about it. But yeah.
The trouble for Tuchel is he's started with teams that we should be resoundingly beating. So he hasn't really had a proper challenge yet. Obviously, we've won all three in the qualifiers, so that's good. But the score lines have been a bit, especially Andorra. You're winning 1-0 away. We should be swatting them aside by 5 or 6 at least. And the football has been very, very boring.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched any of his games, so obviously I've had time. But yeah, how was the Senegal game? They lost 3-1. It was.
I turned it off half time. I hate doing it. But it was that this is so boring. I'm just going to turn it off and have updates on it. Okay, I'm glad I did because I think the first goal we conceded, Carl Walker was switched off, and some of his experience, he should have been picking him up. But the upside to that was it was only a friendly, but it was Senegal, so it's a learning curve for Tuchel, I think.
Well, it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens next summer at the World Cup, should England qualify, which obviously they should.
I think we will. The group we've got, it's the typical England arrogance thing, isn't it? We should qualify. Yeah. We should be qualifying out of this group. There's no doubt about it.
100%.
The only challenge we've got is Serbia.
Definitely, yeah.
And Serbia, we should beat them.
That'll be interesting. You're going to go to the Serbia game
when we don't qualify, eh?
You're going to go to the Serbia game out in Serbia. Are you going to go to that game out in Serbia?
I might do. It's the tickets thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the luck of the draw with the England Travel Club. Yeah. So I'll apply and see.
Yeah.
I'd like to go because
I had one for Andorra, but so man.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Serbia because obviously what the Serbian fans are like in their grounds. You see all the Red Star, the Belgrade derbies, and think, oh god, this would be fun to go and see. So it would be a very interesting trip with England.
Definitely. Okay. I mean, I had one for Andorra, but I just didn't go out there because I had other things to do at the time. So
yeah, I didn't go. I was away that weekend, so I couldn't have gone anyway. But it was interesting. They decided to play it in Barcelona instead of Andorra, but
I think it was because of the demand for tickets to give them more England fans a chance. But apparently, there was more England fans there than Andorra fans. So
yeah, I think we had about 10,000 there, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Something like that, yeah. Well, that was the allocation we had, but yeah.
Yeah, so never question the England fans' loyalty.
So, wrapped up on football, now on to another non-football related topic. I thought I'd throw it in. Oasis.
Get me a ticket. Where's my ticket?
Did you apply
7 hours I waited for that.
Oh my God. How was it like? Because I didn't apply for a ticket, but what was the balloting process like? Was it balloted or was it...
No, I don't even know. It was a queue you had to wait for. And I think online. I ended up... I got in... As I got in, the tickets sold out. And it was going up like 400 or 500 quid. And I was like, as much as I want to see them, I cannot justify spending 600 quid.
Face value?
That's what some of them were, yeah. About 400 odd quid. And then on the resale sites, they're now 600-700 quid.
No, I don't touch resale sites. The only resale site I touch is Ticketmaster resale.
Yeah, no, it's through Ticketmaster and Twickets now. They're not letting you do it on Viagogo.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to go because... I looked on Viagogo just for a look to see if people were reselling them, and they were about 5 minutes after the people had brought them. They were putting them up for like 3 or 4 grand.
Forget that, mate. I'd never pay that much. But
no,
yeah, Ticketmaster resale. Yeah. I'd always go. That's how I got my basketball tickets when I was out in the States back in January. And also, I went to watch Chris Brown last weekend, which was really nice, really good. So I got a very decent. I got it for £120 off that. So yeah, it was really good. I don't know. I think the face value of the ticket was when I saw they still had some direct tickets around the same area, which were like £100. So it wasn't bad, £120. And mine was apparently O2 priority sale. I think O2 had it, but then they're just giving it back.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's what it was. But here's the funny thing. On the day, someone I know on Instagram was selling a gold circle ticket, £150 ticket. They said, I saw in the morning of the concert, I was like, £150 the ticket, gold circle, happy to take less. And I messaged her and she said to me, do you want anyone that wants it? I'm happy to take £60 to £70 for it. I was like, if only you told me 48 hours before. If only you had told me 48 hours before. £70 to stand.
That's the thing, though, isn't it?
I was there on my own, innit? So I'd rather sit down. When you're on your own, you'd rather sit down at a concert than stand in the middle of the crowd. You don't know who's going to be around you and all that. And, you don't want anything, God forbid, any time to kick off or anything, yeah. So I'd rather, from my experience, I'd rather sit down in a concert when but if I'm with a group of people, I wouldn't mind standing, but yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but yeah, well, what do you think of the Oasis? So face value, they were saying for £400, £500. What do you think of that?
It was the dynamic ticket pricing they brought in, which was...
okay.
They were going, because of demand. Well, yes, of course it's demand. They've been split up for the last 15 years, and they've just announced they're getting back together. Of course they're going to be in demand. Okay.
Because I had a line from Darren Lewis. He was saying that obviously Oasis, they come from a working class background. Obviously, they like to look out. They're supposed to look after people. So they've obviously been apart for so many years, and now they've run out of money. So they decided to come back together and charge that amount of tickets. Yeah, I agreed with him on that one. For people that class themselves working class, obviously, and to charge obviously that amount of tickets, a stupid amount, but yeah, just don't know if you think that was justifiable. Why you think they're doing it, but then again, you mentioned that I didn't know when Darren mentioned, I didn't know it was dynamic ticket pricing, obviously, which is what they're going to implement for the World Cup next year, and they tried to implement this Club World Cup now, which obviously, we've seen more than half the stadiums are half empty.
But the thing is, a tournament like that in a place like America, the average American is not going to be interested in it.
Yeah, 100%. They're trying to get more Americans into it. And also, the local fans aren't going to travel. I don't know one Chelsea fan or one City fan that's gone over there to watch it.
I know one Chelsea fan that went.
Okay.
And he watched 2 games, I think. and he's back now.
Okay. And did he say about Did he talk about the crowd? Was it mainly?
He said the crowd. He watched them play Flamengo, and he said the crowd was decent.
Okay. Was it American Chelsea fans or?
I think it was a mix. Yeah, I think there was a mix. Yeah, there must be. Well, obviously there must be American Chelsea fans because they're one of the biggest clubs in the league. So.
Yeah. Now, I knew one of my pals over there. He went to a few of the games. I can't remember which one he went to. I think he went to the Botafogo game, and he went to, I think, Atletico Madrid's game as well. He said it was quite decent atmosphere. But I think Chelsea's first game against LAFC, stadium was half empty. So this tournament, also I want to touch on this as well. There's just a money spinner again. I mean, the winner gets over 100 million. So for FFP purposes, especially Chelsea, it's good.
Yeah.
But I just don't think, you need a break from football at some point in the year. So, it's just too much football at the moment. And I want to know how the players are going to recover from this.
Well, yeah, because once they come back, it will be time for pre-season again, won't it?
Yep, that's the one. And season will start in the finals on the 14th of July, if I'm not mistaken, or around that time. League starts 1 month later.
Yeah, so it's the amount of football is getting a bit much these days. Personally, as much as I love it, it's you need a break from it.
Yeah.
And these players are human beings. They're not robots. They need their rest. Otherwise, they're going to be fatigued and injured all the time. And it's just not going to be enjoyable for the people watching it.
100%. Last thing to touch on, non-league. What are your hopes for Eastbourne Borough this season?
Playoffs again. Hopefully win the league. Quite unfortunate to lose the playoff semi-final against Maidstone. And then the manager went, and about 9 players have left. And now we've got Matt Greening, who used to manage Sutton, and he got them into League 2. So hopefully we're up there again this season. But that league, as you saw at the end of the season, was insane, considering the fact there was about 6 teams that could have gone up.
Yeah, did Boreham Wood go up in the end?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
from the so they're back in the.
They're in the conference now. Yeah, they're back in the national. Yeah,
I need to go watch them more often. Boreham Wood. That's probably the closest non-league team to me, and I like going out. It's a nice day out. When you go non-league, it's nice. Everyone chats with each other. It's a nice experience. Speaking of which, last night we touched on this previously, on me and you, when they had a rain delay in that Chelsea Benfica game. In non-league, they just got on with it.
Yeah.
I've never. Even Maresca was saying they shouldn't have America shouldn't have the World Cup next year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, exactly. If it's going to be the new normal, and I said exactly. Non-league, they just get on with it, mate.
Or the ref just decides to stop the game.
Exactly. Anyway, thanks for coming on, George. Thanks for your time. We'll try to get another session in before the start of the season. All the best for Brighton, apart from winning against Arsenal. So,
of course, mate. Pleasure as always.
Nice one. Go have a good night, mate. Yeah.
I will, mate. Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers.
Take care.